All right, Grand Cruiser, second thoughts. Because we love you so much, YouTube, we're going to try this on 4S and see if it catches on fire. If it doesn't catch on fire, it's going to be glorious because this thing was not overly powerful. Not that it needed a ton more power. I think it would be better because the heavier battery will help make it a little bit more nose heavy. And that is one ugly pilot. So without further ado, because this is a bind and fly, I have to check my control surfaces since I was just flying the PT-17 up, down. Okay, that needs to be rotated. Okay, so that's right now. Ailerons, ailerons. And we are in low rate. I'm gonna go to high rate, elevator, elevator. Okay, everything's good there. Flaps down. Okay, roll that way, roll this way. Everything's ready to go. Why is it flying so weird? It's hilarious.
When you trimmed the PT-17 a bunch
Oh, I did.
when you first took off.
That's true. Camera crew, you're so good.
I know.
50% throttle. Man, this 4S is way better. Man, that is an orange blockhead pilot. No throttle. Coming down the runway. Gorgeous, gorgeous silhouette. Okay, we're gonna give it full throttle. Hasn't blown up yet. That's full throttle, definitely has more power. The acrobatic experience would be a lot better on 4S. I'm just not sure that the ESCs are gonna hold up and the motors are gonna hold up. That's why I told the camera crew we gotta get moving. Because basically I think what's gonna happen is the ESCs and motors are gonna get real hot. So I'm gonna just be a little bit nice to it and not do lots of things like this. Only do a little bit of that. I had one of my subscribers say that he had his Cessna 310 upside down once. He lived to see, he lived to tell about it.
Yeah, a real one. You should maybe clarify that.
Well, I'm assuming it was a real one.
He said real one.
Oh, okay. Evidently it was a real one. Guys, look at how tight of an area I'm flying this in. I'm not struggling to fly it in this area. It's quite easy. And by the way, it's so much easier to fly this plane with two motors.
It's funny how that works.
Okay, so I want to try flying this without the stabilizer for a minute. Okay, stabilizer's off.
Sheesh.
It's definitely a little bit more wonky and crazy, but I think on low rates it might be better. It's just so big, you know, like it lumbers on its rolls. And I feel like the rudder is really subdued with the stabilizer. No oscillation now. Well, it gets kind of crazy. It's like the wings want to break off at near full throttle. Okay, I'm gonna go back down to my stabilizer on. Let's try auto leveling. Okay, here's auto leveling. Let go of the stick, there's auto level. Let go of the stick, that's auto level. It's kind of like, you know, sort of level, but not quite. That auto leveled. Okay, I've had enough auto leveling for one day. I'm just wondering if I need to add more weight to the nose even still. Okay, stabilizer is on. Going on the inside here, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
See, the camera crew didn't even flinch, guys. Look at that. Most people with more common sense would have. I'm just kidding.
I didn't marry you.
She knows what's going on. She knows when she needs to flinch because I'm yelling, flinch, flinch.
Probably not what you were yelling.
Oh, it does start with F though. That's the dreaded crash zone. Whoa, 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 buddy. That Grand Cruiser was trying to get jiggy with it there. She was really into that trailer. It's like, geez, got to keep those guys away from each other. Oh, here comes the mailman. Oh, she's coming in. We'll just go up.
She's going by.
Oh, she's going to the mailbox.
Go up high.
Okay, cool. We'll go inside this time.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Good. The federal employee did not have to deliver any packages today. That could have been devastating. It could have been a sneak preview of what's to come.
These aren't usually delivered by her anyway.
4S. 4S. Sounds totally well balanced. Maybe not. Maybe not perfect. It is a lot more fun on 4S, I gotta say. You definitely have to have a lot of rudder involvement to do rolls on these planes. That could be symptomatic of the control surface being kind of wonky on this one. It could be symptomatic of the stabilizer. I think it's kind of a combination therein. Full landing flaps. We'll just do a nice slow pass for you here. Like barely moving pass. Be prepared to flinch. Okay, out of the flaps. Out of the flaps. Oh yeah, that's really natural and scale looking. I think what gets most people on this plane is just the flexiness of it. See, this was back before it would have been unheard of to have this level of punch. Wow. Ooh, man. There's definitely somebody that's trying to get their wings today. You know what would really make this plane awesome?
What?
A flap deployment delay and an elevator correction. Because then you could actually slow it down without that balloon effect. Because I'll be honest with you, when you have to manually make adjustments for elevator correction, it is really lame. But man, that thing is pretty. Just imagine if that pilot wasn't such a square. Whoa, whoa, 4S saved lives today. Whoa, whoa. Okay, torture test not complete.
When does it burst into flames?
My wife just wants one less plane in the basement. It's like, this is what happens when you wanted something for years. She's like, you know, if it crashed, I'd be okay with it.
Except that even if it crashes, it's not like it won't be in our basement.
Yes, that's true. Even if we do crash it, I'll still
be
keep
sitting
it.
down there.
Good point. I was literally and genuinely concerned I was going to hit that hook.
I was almost positive you were going to. Do you have a voltage alarm in there?
Nope.
Okay. Good
I'm
to
just
know.
waiting for it to fall out of the sky. No big deal. This stabilizer is a little bit overreactive. You know what I want to do? Woo! Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to low rates. And we're just going to try it again because I feel like the overreactivity of the stabilizer is probably being promulgated by the high rates. So if we can take off with low rates, maybe we'll get rid of some of that oscillation. Oh, what am I doing? Take off flaps, buddy. Gorgeous. Wait to get the gear up here. Gear and flaps out. Yes. It just needs more nose weight. It feels like I'm pivoting on the back half of the wing. What's the #1 rule of the drone registry?
Always yield to manned aircraft.
Yes, which is also known as common sense. Thank you, federal government. We couldn't figure that out on our freaking own. Sorry. So you're saying that the lives of a human being are more important than the lives of my radio-controlled components?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad we put that into a legal document. The only reason I'm bringing it up, guys, because I just had to update my FAA registration. What a wonderful experience that was. No ambiguity whatsoever, worked perfectly. Cost $5. What a joke. Next thing they're gonna regulate, toilet paper.
No, 'cause you can't get any of that.
No, they're gonna regulate it so that you can supposedly get it. But it's gonna be government issued sand toilet paper.
Oh, great. You're kidding, aren't you? Please tell me you're kidding.
You wouldn't know from the way things have been going.
I know, that's why I'm concerned.
Thank God we have this property and the YouTube channel and an obsession with RC aircraft that's only minimally regulated at this point. You know, I have a knack for picking the stuff that the government wants to pick on.
I know, you do.
It's like virtually every aspect of our lives. I don't know if I'm the only one. Probably not. Man, full throttle on 4S, doing pretty good. I feel a little adverse yaw, which is probably an asymmetry caused by unbalanced ESCs. No big deal. Maybe one's about to catch on fire. That would be cool.
Be closer to us if you're gonna blow up.
Okay. I'll make sure to bring it in real close.
That'd be good.
That way the controls and things like that. Well, of course. Guys, if you haven't figured out, this plane is pretty dang good to control. Like it's easy. And I'm really torture testing it right now. Like literally. And kind of meanly torture testing it. On low, you know what? This just irritates me. Low rates on this and the other one seem to perform a little bit better. The plane just looks a little bit better. It's more stable looking. The stabilizer seems to be more dialed in. Woo! That's when I would have liked to have high rates. I thought we were going to be picking it up in 30 pieces. Well, some year.
Jeez.
It's a little heavier now. Don't you dare go off the edge. You son of a biscuit! All right.
I'll wait for you.
Are you going to wait and talk about me?
No, I'm pausing.
So folks, if you weren't wondering already, the 4S has been great actually. In terms of noises that you're hearing from the plane, maybe not so great. Is there a reason you decided to move the picnic out here in the middle of the yard?
Yeah, we walked out here when you went off the runway.
Guys, this plane is so stable in the ground effect that it's like, it just screams to be dragged on the ground.
Kind of waiting for you to forget to do.
Oh shoot, there's my props. That's a perfect time for the engine to blow out. I've actually seen a Cessna 310 land a few times. I'm pretty sure it's probably the same video and I'm just remembering it multiple times, where they've landed it, dead stick landing, like where the engines have died. Or they had a gear failure or something, which, by the way, speaking of gear failure, guys, it is below 60 degrees, and watch this. Oh, there's the landing gear. Look at that, all three of them.
Yep.
Everybody's been complaining. Oh, wait, did I hilariously just, are they out?
Yeah.
Ha, they are. I thought I was gonna get burned. So check this out, guys. Dynam has a reputation for crappy landing gear, i.e. retracts. These ones have not given me a lick of trouble. They also haven't licked anything either, which is weird.
Them either.
But the thing is, I had issues with my Turbojet 550 when I was a much younger and more brazen young lad. I am flying this on 4S. It's 3S rated! Wow, you are such a crazy guy.
How long, do you remember how long your flight time was the first time we flew on 3S?
I don't know, a lot less than this. But there again, we don't have an alarm, so.
It's kind of like
Uh-oh, the pilot's confused. Look, it's upside down. Still. No throttle, and it's still. Oh yeah, that's awesome. An upside down stall? Unheard of.
What's that?
It's just when it's when your plane is about to crash. That's what that is. You son of a turd lover. Well, anyway, so there you have it, guys. Not rated for 4S. I think I might have said that, what, a minute ago?
Yeah.
Don't be like me. Make your plane survive longer. That was how many flights?
2.
Three. One of them was a crash.
Oh, actually.
Another one was
2
a
of
crash.
them were
They aren't rated for 4S. So you may want to take that to heart. That being said, the plane is definitely cool. On 3S, it's got ample power. It flies okay. It's easy to fly. The auto leveling does work. The ready to fly, the SRTF, the Smart Ready to Fly package would be a good one for somebody to start with if you're just learning to fly. It's a little bit complex on the setup in terms of the build for maybe a brand new beginner, but you can watch our build video. I mean, it's super entertaining. But beyond that, I guess let's go see if it catches on fire. Okay. We'll, do you want to just like pause it and we'll walk out there, or do you want to have me pick it up and then bring it back? You could just wait.
I can walk with you. It's
okay, let's walk.
I mean, I'll pause, but.
There's nothing quite like a good trespass to retrieve your airplane.
Well, at least you did it after harvest, so we don't
yeah,
have to walk
it's a lot better
field.
when there's not soybeans or corn there.
Yeah.
If that was corn, this plane would be toast because it'd be like 15 feet tall. And yeah, the soybeans were not very easy to get through either. So we're fortunate it's been kind of dry lately too. So we should have no problems getting over there.
Yeah. Well, we'll just go out there and then we can come back when we get over there.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, guys, yeah, that's probably not going to fly very good without. Would you hold, please?
Yes.
I would say be careful about the throttle, except that probably not going to matter. There's some of the prop.
There's the other half
right
of that
there.
one.
And then usually when you have a crash landing like this, that could have been where the prop came off, but I think that's actually the noise we heard.
And that was like way up. We'll have to look.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna look for this doohickey. Look where the jam nut, or look where the block washer is. It's possible that the whole thing blew up too. But yeah, so this
Which side did you fix?
This side, oh look.
There's another
Look,
one.
there's all the blades. So we broke the blades. The ESCs are fine, I think. That's crazy. Like this thing just did fine with a 4S configuration.
I think it was the
The prop
issue.
came off.
Yep.
Or blew up.
Yep.
So we're gonna walk back. We'll see if we can give you guys an update on this. But if not, we'll come back and follow up with you on batteries and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're back inside now, and we're just gonna check the battery because honestly, I don't think we destroyed anything at all, other than we just had one of our props came off. Everything smells fine. You can always tell when you fry an ESC because you will smell it before you see it. Just a dirty little spot there because it picked up dirt as it was landing. This battery is pretty big for this plane in terms of physical dimension. Weight doesn't seem to be an issue at all though. I can clean that hole out. Okay, so you'll notice that the gear are down just fine, no problems there. This thing's just a little bit dirty from landing in the soybean field. And all the control surfaces are working. It's always kind of hard to tell though what came first, the chicken or the egg, when you have a crash.
Ooh, wait, hold on.
Yeah, we were running out.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
But that wasn't the issue.
This was not the issue
No.
because there was no lacking power. It's just that unless we oversped the other side when we lost the one side and it broke. No, because these were on the ground right near the blade.
Yeah.
So the prop broke because of the landing. Actually, no big surprise. Funny, I was talking about that just a few minutes before about the Cessna 310 that I've seen crash land, and it bent the props back. Of course, that would be a lot more expensive in real life. So what we're going to do is we're going to review our footage and just double check and see if we can tell where we lost the prop, because I'm guessing that the prop just spun off of there. So, and before we go any further, let's,
Yeah, battery.
I unplugged it.
Yeah.
I was just going to say we could test the surfaces. We already tested the surfaces off camera. Everything is working fine. So really all we have to do is just put on new props, which to be honest would be like pretty easy.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the 3-bladed props are cool and everything, but you know, I think it could probably tolerate a little bit nicer prop too.
And just do it too.
Possibly. Yeah. If we can get the right spinner. These little threaded shafts are not really too hard to get different props on there. You could do drone blades that are more efficient. They're smaller.
This is like sort of off topic, but sort of not, because as we were walking over there off camera, we both kind of came to the same conclusion that it probably wasn't
Destroyed.
that it was probably a prop issue.
Yeah. I left the flaps up.
And
gear
part
up.
of, if you're learning to fly and you can have someone that can videotape you, not just for YouTube, but for your own personal, it's really helpful to go back and watch and listen and like just know what's happening and then be able to see it again just to learn and help make you a better pilot, is it not?
It's extremely helpful. And the thing is too, is that as you sit and watch and decipher what happened in a crash, it's not as cataclysmic as you might think. And you learn a lot from being able to pick apart what happened. You learn where you made a mistake. You learn what sort of hints and clues that you were going to get. And then you can learn to respond to those, because it's like I tell people when they ask me about how to learn to fly and things, a lot of people are asking, and I try to mentor them along from my little bit of experience. And what I tell people is never waste a crash, because every crash, there's something to learn, which is true in real general aviation with real pilots. And the difference is sometimes you have a pilot that's lost, or you have a whole crew that's lost, or a plane full of people, and a lot of lives are lost. So that's obviously not good. But in radio controlled, we have the advantage of, not having that weight of it hanging over our heads. So always learn what went wrong, how to avoid it. Obviously, in this case, we have a safe environment. There's nobody that was at risk. It's just basically all in good fun. So I really don't have a big problem with this. It's not going to impact our lives a lot. If this was my only plane, I'd be heartbroken. But I have like 100 more. So I'm not going to lose a lot of sleep over this. We'll just fix it and move on. Obviously, I was screwing around and pushing the envelope, but the prop probably shouldn't have come off like that. It could have been a factor of just, more speed, more power than what it's really designed to be. And you might have heard me say a number of times, it sounds bad. And part of the sound bad is probably from this backing off. And then as it backed off, it started to oscillate more and the noise got louder. And as I continued to be crazy, it just eventually gave way. Now, it may have blown up the spinner. It may have blown up the prop. I doubt it. It probably just came off. Because as you can see, there's a nylock there. That nylock, I believe, was tightened all the way down so that it would have been flush with the
Right
face.
to the beginning of the threads.
Yep. Because on this side, there was two reverse threaded, or it was vice versa. I can't remember which side. But then they gave us two nylocks for the other side, which I thought, why didn't they give us nylocks all around? So once you tighten them on there. Again, this is kind of an older Dynam model. The PT-17 is a newer Dynam model, so they have redesigned some of the things to make this really nice. But one thing I can definitely say is that these retracts are performing excellently. And it is not hot out. We are cold out there. I mean, the gloves have been working great, by the way. Just enough to let you have all the dexterity you want, but you don't get cold. They're actually a little bit hot once I'm inside. But out there, it's like no issue at all. So this is definitely going to be the new trick of the day, is using, these are nitrate gloves. They happen to be like a work glove. So like I said, thanks, boss. So I didn't know that was going to work. So definitely worth giving it a shot, because it's not like you're holding cold steel or anything. It's just plastic and, you know, rubber. So it's actually comfortable in your hands still. You have plenty of dexterity. You don't even know they're there. So that's really nice, actually.
Fine, I'll try them.
Yes. Yeah, my camera crew was complaining because her hands get cold when she's filming. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and end this video for now. We'll pause the footage, and if we find the prop, we'll go ahead and share that information with you, because if it's all intact, it'd be kind of cool to know that. And then you guys can learn from what went wrong in my situation. Obviously, you're not going to be pushing the envelope like I was, but honestly, I don't feel like that was really pushing the envelope beyond maybe the full throttle for as long and flips and all these things. I actually don't typically fly my general aviation planes in that manner. It's just kind of fun with this plane. We'll be back. We found it. It was right where we expected. Okay. So our initial assessment of what went wrong was probably correct. Probably what happened is this loosened, and then eventually it allowed, let's see if it falls out. Okay. Yeah, this thing came out. Okay. That's one of the washers. There should be two of those. There's a nut. So much for nylock, right? Need a lock washer is what we need. There's the other one. Now it's empty. So the way that this attaches, you can see clearly that's not where it's supposed to be. That was tight up against the nacelle, the front of the engine nacelle at the time. So that thing would be easy to fix, but then typically you don't use nylocks and Loctite. I guess you technically could, but the nylon is going to get eaten up by the... Let's see if there's anything else broken in here. I kind of doubt there is. But yeah, my camera crew noticed the noise when we were going down the runway. And then by the time I crossed the road and made my right-hand turn, which at that point I can't turn left because there's trees, I knew there was something wrong, because I said, that's the sound before you crash your plane. Because we reviewed the footage, that's how we verified what our search area was going to be. And here we are.
Yeah.
3 screws loosened. Okay, those are out. Everything is intact.
Yeah.
So basically what happened is this thing was allowed to back off while flying, to the extent that not only one nylock, see, this can go into that too, but it didn't. We had washers on there, because how would you ever tighten it? You couldn't.
Right.
I don't think.
So it just worked itself
Yeah, it just
far
worked.
enough forward that it just came off.
Yeah, it just worked itself far enough forward until it eventually just took it off. Which you wouldn't think that would be something that could even happen in that short of a time. So.
But you flew for it was like about 17 minutes into the video.
Wow.
And you just talked for a second at the beginning, so.
Right.
That was.
So, yeah, because that was our second flight on the Smart Pack. So what have we learned from this crash? This is the side we fixed, by the way, because this side is not taped.
Yes, that's correct.
So this is where the ESC was bad. So the ESC held up fine.
Yeah.
If we wanted to fix this right now, the way we would fix it is we would have to, of course, get this prop. This one here is an 8060R3 blade prop. So it's an 80 millimeters by 60. Can you show them up here? Oh, that's why I keep pointing at it. 8060R X3. So the R is over here for reverse. That's why it goes clockwise. And then the other one is standard, so it goes counterclockwise. In a tractor configuration, a tractor pulls the vehicle and a pusher pushes the vehicle. Okay, I'm not sure why it's called a tractor, but it's like a tractor trailer. So anyway, the way to fix that, well, I guess we could just fix it right now, this side, and then just make sure everything goes together. Should be no problem to do. Basically, I'm gonna use a crescent wrench and a pair of needle nose pliers. I'm just not sure what we could have really done differently though.
I'm not sure.
Because the assembly doesn't really give you a lot of room for adjustment. So it's a little bit tricky because you got to be able to hold on to this while you tighten that nylock. And I don't want to mar the threads. So how did I do that? Did I take off this cowling? No, because we had to have that intact.
Right.
So I must have had to hold this.
I don't remember.
I don't either. It's funny how fast you forget little details like this.
I know we do a lot of stuff, so then it's easy.
Which you guys had asked questions about, like, hey, what did you do here? You really got to just watch the video because I don't remember. We've done thousands of them, the videos. And basically what we know, we share in the video. That's why they're so long. I wonder if I can just turn it. No, way too hard to turn.
Did you?
If I hold the shaft like this, I should be able to do it. I don't remember having to do that though. Wonder if, no, that's gonna be too hard to get the tool in there. We didn't use a nut driver, did we?
I don't think so. Because you took the first one off because we were gonna switch them and put a lock washer on both sides.
A nylock.
And nylock, thank you. And then we realized it's reverse threaded on one side, so we couldn't.
Yeah.
So maybe we didn't really adjust that one very much.
Well, I mean, it was all the way back. Yeah. It would have had to been. Mm-hmm. And obviously it held up through the first crash, and then we tightened it on again for the second, like after the crash. This one's wanting to spin a little bit on me there that time, so I have to hold harder with my pliers. And basically this needs to go until it bottoms out on the shaft, because the shaft is only threaded so far back, and then it stops being threaded. And you could just use two. I wonder if we just used two pliers. I bet that's what we did. Okay, so we're gonna pause it while we finish this. Okay, so we've got the nylock all the way back to where it's bottomed out on the prop shaft. And then you can just slide this plate back on. Okay. So now that's on there. So when the motor spins, then that in turn spins the spinner. And then I don't really think there's another way of doing it. You can just mount this prop either direction here, folks. Because this just goes on there and it just seats down in there like so. And then when the motor turns, it in turn spins the spinner, and then the spinner spins the prop. That's all there is to it. Then in this case, I have these two washers, which I'm certain you're supposed to use at least one, maybe not two, but whatever. I'm just going to use two unless I can't get the thread on there. I need to make sure that my nylock bites onto the threads. Okay. So it's definitely going to get down to where it's biting the threads. Now this is easy here because now I can just grab a hold of the prop and hold it to brace the motor. I want to make sure this thing is biting though, like really tight. Yeah, the nylon is on there. And it's protruding, like I can see the threads protruding, you see? If you're on any amount, that thing should hold. Okay, and I'm just gonna kind of go a little bit crazy on it. It's probably gonna break it is what it's gonna do. Okay, so that's pretty dang tight. All right, folks. So I don't see that motor having enough torque to undo that. Okay, oops, wrong way, goes that way. So now I just need to basically put the spinner cover on. And you'll notice the spinner is not designed to be rotating this way. That doesn't actually matter in terms of the security of the whole assembly. It just happens to be the holes are cut backward. And that's just because you have a really hard time finding spinners that actually go reverse. At least off the shelf, you know. It's like if you were trying to build a plane in a hobby environment and you wanted it to have a special detail, like counter-rotating props, then you would think that a company like Dynam would have the resources to make such a spinner. But honestly, I don't know.
Is it just not that common to have counter-rotating blades?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different spinner sizes. But the thing that irks me about the RC world is that you'll run into situations where it's like, can they really not just make another spinner? But truth be told, it probably costs a lot to engineer and design that and then stock that part. Because, you know, if you only sell 700 of them in a year, it's hard to set up a production line and make 700 pieces that are unique to this airplane each year. It just costs too much for labor. Okay, so there's that. And then of course this one's broken now, but that was attached when we landed. So obviously, I don't think we bent the shaft or anything. So really what I need to do now is just basically unscrew that. Excuse me. Unscrew this. And then unscrew this. And I'm just basically going to look for damage that I don't think exists anyway. But I just want to make sure this hasn't loosened at all. If it loosened, I guess honestly, I wouldn't be super surprised. Okay. Yeah, that hasn't loosened, and that's not even a nylock. So
right.
What the heck? That just doesn't make sense to me. So basically at this point, we know we're not going to fly it like this. So my next maneuver needs to be to take this prop off, and that's a reverse threaded nut. Okay. Which is weird because I'm wanting to spin it the wrong way because my brain doesn't, you get used to going a certain way and then that's all you know how to do. Dang it, I'm going the wrong way again. I hate undoing reverse threaded stuff. And it's really hard. There we go. See, I'm just holding the nut and then spinning the prop, which makes it come off of the end of the shaft. Did we put glue on this? Yeah, we did. Look, we put a little bit of glue on there. See?
Yeah, because we were concerned about that side.
Mm-hmm.
Not being an nylock.
Yeah, and that worked pretty good actually, yep. Evidently. It works so good, I'm having a hard time getting the washers off.
Yep.
Okay, so 2 washers. And then of course the prop, it'll come off. So yeah, so this is an 8063. 8063. And so you can tell that just bent back and snapped off. That's why the pop mark is on the back. And then same thing here. It just spun around, whacked the ground, and then bent back and popped. Which is exactly what you'd expect to happen in this type of an environment. So not a whole lot you can do about that. I'm kind of surprised the prop shaft isn't bent because that looks pretty darn straight to me. Mm-hmm. And that is not always the case, by the way, folks. See? That took the nut back. Do you see how that worked? Mm-hmm. So now, when we get ready to put this back together, we're going to have to goober that back up with another chunk of glue. Because that worked pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Second thoughts videos usually don't end in a disaster, but I bring my A game for you, YouTube. Disaster. You can leave it in my world so that you don't have to have the disaster. But 4S, I think, was good. It didn't need that big of a battery either. I felt like the 3200 4S was just a little bit too much. We could have totally done a 2200 4S. It would have been, I mean, it flew forever.
Yeah.
So I would say 2200 4S, and then your pilot, Mr. Squarehead, is going to not be all the way up to the top. So second thoughts on this plane. We've had problems with it twice. The second one could have been us. The first one was definitely a Dynam electronic issue. But again, I think it's kind of a fluke. I still really kind of like this plane, but my kind of like has, you know, I would say that the performance of my liking has degraded slightly from the second crash. That's a little bit annoying, mostly because the time wasted. But honestly, it's been a fun plane to fly. I just feel like the longevity factor is a factor that you kind of have to weigh into your decision making. Is this a cool looking plane? Absolutely. Is it really robust and strong? The foam is weak, but that sometimes works to your advantage when you have a bad landing, because then it doesn't break. In terms of the, you know, the operation of the plane, I don't think it flies. I don't want a plane to fly like this. I want it to fly level. That's one issue I have with it. Some planes just tend to fly with the tail drooping a little bit. Could be an angle of incidence on the back wing. It could be the center of gravity is not quite worked out. I may have had too big of a battery, but I don't see how that would make it tail heavy. That should make it nose heavy.
Right.
Props popping off. Again, that could have been something we did wrong, but I kind of doubt it. I think that was just maybe a bad design because the nylocks are not quite enough to stop them. So if we had a small lock washer, I think that would doubly help that from not happening. Or if you put glue on that thread too, that would help. What are your thoughts on this one, camera crew? Not good. She doesn't like it.
It's not my favorite.
She doesn't like it. She's not into it, I don't think. The PT-17 is way cooler looking, but this was a lot better build.
Yes,
It was still a bad build though. This build was a pain.
It was. This one's just not as fun to watch as some planes.
Yeah, I agree. It's not as exciting. You know, like compared to the V1200, which costs like twice as much as this plane or more.
Well, but I'm talking about even compared to other general aviation planes that are similar, I would rather watch most of those probably.
Really?
Yeah.
I like flying this one because I can fly it in low, slow, and it's not hard.
Yeah.
I think with a programmable transmitter, it's going to resolve some of my flight issues with it.
That's possible.
So when we do that, I think it's going to help. It's going to help to refine the look of it when it's in the air. Because when you fly a plane and it doesn't look like it's flying right, it makes it look not scale. And it's just like the desirability of that particular aircraft goes out the window for me.
Yeah.
So like losing a prop, I can forgive that. Having an ESC issue, I can totally forgive that. You know, even having retracts that don't work, which by the way, these ones have been flawless so far.
That's true.
Even with crashes involved.
And in the cold.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, we've been operating in cool, not extreme cold. We're like what, 35, 40 degrees, something like that. It's like 40-ish.
I think it's mid-40, little
So I think this plane is definitely worth a buy. It's just definitely not going to be probably with you for 20 years. So
maybe I'll withhold judgment till the programmable transmitter.
Yeah, let's do that.
Change the look.
Oh, but speaking of programmable transmitters, even if we did that, I have to figure out.
We gotta get a prop.
I got to get a prop.
Yeah.
So we'll figure out if we have a prop. We may actually have a prop in this size because I have a lot of parts. From my early days, I used to kind of hoard these things.
Kinda.
Totally.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll come back if we have that. Otherwise, thanks for watching, guys. The Grand Cruiser is still, I still think it's good. Is it my favorite plane? No. Is it a good plane that would be good for a new first-time pilot? Actually, it could be, especially if you're not pushing it like I am.
Yeah.
It's actually not bad for that. And if you're landing on a grass strip or something like that, yeah, you could probably land it with the wheels up and still be fine if you had tall grass. So I think it'd be a good plane. All right, thumbs up still. Thumbs up. Just one thumb, not two. Two thumbs up. I would give this PT-17 slightly better ranks, but just it's definitely not that plane, which is cool. And I don't want to do a lot of crosstalk on the other planes because I don't know when we're going to release these things.
Yeah.
So, all right, come back for more, guys. Check the link in the description. You can buy one for your very own. If you think I did a horrible job, prove me wrong. Buy your own. Check it over. Do your once-overs. And by the way, somebody asked me a question in the comments the other day. Like, didn't you check the ESC wires? Are you freaking kidding me? No, I didn't. I do not have time or inclination to check every wire in these things. There's no human in here. So if it goes wrong, you lose a piece of foam. If it runs into your head, you're probably still fine. You're just annoyed. Let's get real. If you have enough time to go over every wire that's in this plane, you need to be buying ARFs, almost ready to flies, not bind flies and ready to flies and things like this. And if you want to do that, that's fine. I mean, maybe somebody doesn't have budget to afford to have issues like what we experienced there. Maybe they just don't like the hassle. But to be honest with you, taking a plane apart to look at every wiring would be almost impossible on most of these planes. The only reason you take them apart is when you're fixing them.
Yep.
You give it a control surface test, you give it a motor test, you make sure the wheels spin free, you make sure the flaps move, things like that you can see obviously. And then if there's something not quite right, then you maybe investigate a little bit further. But otherwise you just...
And we investigate a lot of stuff if you think it's not right, but we don't go out of our way to like look for...
Yeah, we don't chase
something.
ghosts on these things, because if you chase ghosts on these things, you're never gonna fly.
Yeah.
So that being said, cool plane, still definitely worth a buy. Check the link, get yours, enjoy it, come back for more. Thanks for watching, guys. Signing out.